All right, I'm Mikai Brown. I'm the host of the Mikai Brown Report, and I have partnered with Dr. Boyce Watkins on the search for the underground African American entrepreneurs across the country. In September, we are touring Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm excited to talk to all of the great entrepreneurs there. So our first interview is with Isiah Musain, and I'm very excited to have you because this woman homeschools 5 kids while running 3 different businesses. 3, correct?
It's actually 4.
4. So you are originally from Brooklyn. You were pregnant from Queens, Brooklyn. You moved to Atlanta and you started a midwifery business. Let's talk about how that all came about.
Okay. Well, I'm a nurse by profession. So I was always in the field of providing health care and taking care of those in need. My intro, I guess I would say, to midwifery and birth work started when I was 17, when my best friend at the time got pregnant, teen pregnancy, and I was there for the birth of her son, who was my godson. He is now 23.
Wow.
23 maybe. And that's when I first really felt a connection to pregnancy and to birth and to being with mothers during that time. So it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I actually really jumped into the birth work and my midwifery practice and providing doula support and breastfeeding support. I was actually working as a nurse at the time, as a school nurse in a school for special needs students who were on the autism spectrum. And I was pregnant and I was looking for a provider, preferably a midwife, but I did interview with some obstetricians and midwives as well, and even a few doulas to provide some doula support during the pregnancy and the birth. And there was always a disconnect. I wasn't able to find many providers who looked like me, who understood my story, who shared my story, and who could relate to me on a personal level. They could relate to me on a professional level, with me being a nurse and them being a midwife or
Right.
an obstetrician, and they were very knowledgeable in what they did, but they did not make me feel welcome. They didn't make me feel comfortable. And during a time when you're pregnant, your emotions are high one day and low the next, and they're kind of all over the place. That was something that I thought was important, and I could not find that. So my first business, Mother Nature's Belly Pregnancy and Lactation Center, was born from that, from not finding providers who could connect with me on a cultural or spiritual level.
So you found a need in your community. You decided to fulfill that need and create a business. And how long were you in business for?
That business opened from 2006 until 2013. I started it in New York. I was living in Harlem at the time. So I started it in New York, in Harlem, and I operated there for a year. And then I was able to move to Atlanta in 2007, and the business then thrived here from 2007 until 2013, when I decided I was going to close the practice because I now had 5 children and needed a little bit more flexibility in my schedule, and was kind of feeling a little burnout. So I needed to take a step back.
Right. Let's talk about how hard it is to start a practice like this. Number one, you have to have all the skills and licensing, and I know that you went through a lot of schooling, but having a brick and mortar that facilitates people and houses people, especially in the medical world, is expensive. So how did you go about building the capital to do this? Did you immediately start with opening a center, or did you go door to door? How did it work?
Initially, I started from my home, so I would meet with clients in my home, or I would travel to them and meet with them at their home. And I did that for the first 2 years of the practice, first 3 years of the practice, actually. First year in New York, and then 2 years here in the Atlanta area. My grandmother passed away in 2006.
I'm sorry to hear that.
She gifted all of the grandchildren money. So I was able to take the money that I was gifted from my grandmother and put that towards getting the business going. So my first business wasn't as much of a struggle as the later businesses because I had
you had capital,
a lump of money,
right,
to throw towards it.
Right.
So that money funded the move to Atlanta. It funded all of the initial costs for the building. It funded all my training, licenses, and certifications that I needed to get. funded my fire inspection for the building. I mean, it funded a lot.
Right. Now, what if you didn't have that?
It wasn't that bad.
What if you didn't have that? Like, what if you didn't have that? How would you have went about starting something like this? Is it possible to do without a ton of capital up front?
Absolutely. And I've done that with the businesses that I've started since Mother Nature's Belly Pregnancy and Lactation Center. I have not been an employee since 2006. I've been an entrepreneur.
You escaped the corporate plantation. Yay.
But it's not always peaches and cream. You know, there are some days when you don't know where your next bill is, how your next bill is going to get paid, or where your next meal is going to come from, or how you're going to buy the kids their summer clothes, or for activities. There are days, months that are like that.
So when you go through those months, what is it inside you that keeps you going? Like that is very discouraging. Money kind of controls how we think, eat, breathe, live, attitude, etc. So how do you stay positive and moving forth in what your vision is?
I'm very passionate about everything that I do. All of the businesses that I have started since Mother Nature's Belly that I am continually working on that are actually generating income now, I'm passionate about everything. So the passion that I have for it and the belief that I have in what I'm doing is making a difference keeps me going. And usually my husband will be there to say, you know what, it's going to be okay, or I've got this, we're going to do this. I have a great support system with my family and my handful of friends that are always there to cheer me on and to keep me focused.
Let's talk about support. Like, do you have a mentor? You know, a lot of people in business, like your husband can only lend you so much advice. You know, there's another person that you have to confide in. So has there been anyone influential that has been giving you advice and support on the business side of things, such as a mentor?
One of my friends from, I think we met when we were 5 or 6 years old. We've both kind of taken different paths in our lives. She doesn't have any children, but she is very successful in her business. She's been an entrepreneur now about 15 years, and she's very successful in her business. So I always look to her, even if we don't talk on a regular basis. I always look to her for inspiration to see what she's doing and how she's moving, and you know, some of the changes and sacrifices that she's making along her journey. And I use that for inspiration for the times when things get rough, when we don't know how this is going to get paid, or it doesn't look like this account or this contract is going to come through, or we're having an issue with customs and things being delivered. I always look to her for that inspiration to say, you know what, she's doing this. We came from the same place. We have the same story.
Right.
If she can do this, I can do it too.
Exactly. Now let's move on to this I'm looking at this website right now, Royal by Nature. Let's talk about how you are changing the game in soap making. Now, soap, just anything natural right now is on and popping with like shays, you know, using ingredients and like fair trade products, etc. What made you go from the baby booming world, right? Taking care of babies and wives and mothers, etc., to making soap?
Well, they kind of are intertwined. They're definitely intertwined. I would always provide sitz baths and herbal teas and salves and lotions for my moms and for my babies. So I was doing it during the time that I was operating my midwifery practice. I just wasn't doing on the scale of it being an income generating business. They were always gifts that I would give.
Oh, really?
Big eczema, mom is having issues with breastfeeding and she's having some nipple issues. Okay, here, boom, let me give you this, rub this on it, and it'll be fine. So it was something that I was already doing. When I decided to take a step back from my midwifery practice in 2013, I had my 3 older boys, a 14-month-old son, and a newborn daughter.
Unbelievable. And you're homeschooling all of those kids?
Homeschool. My 18-year-old is just about finished. But
wow.
The other ones, yes. My twins will be 15 in October, and now we have a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Oh my goodness.
So it was a change of need. I needed to make a change. I had a great responsibility in providing the midwifery care and postpartum care for all the moms that were scheduled and that I had just attended their births, but I needed a break. So it wasn't something new that I was starting. I was just taking it to the next level. I was taking the skills and the knowledge that I had already developed and honed in on by providing these products for the women and their babies that were in my care, and decided, you know what, I need to give this a name. This needs a name, and this needs to be a business. And I've always had a business mindset. So for me, it's how can I take this and turn it into something that is going to be profitable, that I can feed my family off of. So it really was just going from point A to point B in a matter of days.
Wow. So how are you able to scale? I mean, like, making these products for your clients is okay, but being able to scale, if I was looking at your bio, you're in, let me read this correctly. Your business is in, you serve 30 states, 7 countries internationally. How the heck did you scale to be so big? How was it? Was it easy to find partners, manufacturing, products? How did this all come about?
Well, I do not have any partners. We are still family owned and run.
Awesome.
We do not manufacture. Everything is still handmade.
Are you kidding?
At this point. Yes, everything is still handmade.
What?
The goal is to continue to make everything by hand. We'll have to, of course, bring on employees and things of that nature, but the goal is to continue making everything by hand. I think that the reason why the business has achieved such growth is because it's personalized. Even though we're providing a product and it's being shipped to you in the mail, it's personalized. Every order that goes out receives a handwritten note by me. Every order that goes out also receives a little sticker on the box that says this product or these products were made for you by hand, by me. I think that that's what people enjoy about it. I actually did not attempt to grow the business.
Really?
In this way. It just pretty much happened organically. I started off with the business using the Etsy platform, and it grew from there to being able to get orders from other countries and wholesale accounts, and just really growing it to that point. So right now we are still considered a small business. And my goal for 2018 is to gross 2 million. That is my goal for 2018. We're on track. We just have to stay focused and, keep our eyes on the prize. But that is the goal for 2018.
Now, let's talk about goals. As entrepreneurs, I like to kind of describe it as a marathon. When if you're a runner and you see someone that is running past you, it may not be in your best interest to run at their pace because everybody runs in a different way. And if you run too fast to try to catch up with someone else, you're probably going to get too tired and you may not be able to finish the race. So how do you just kind of like in your race of being an entrepreneur, if you don't meet certain milestone, if you see someone that is, or an obstacle that's ahead of you, how do you stay the course with saying, hey, I'm not at where I want to be, but I know I need to push forward. So what is your motivation behind that?
And that's where the support system comes in. I was actually having lunch, to give you an example. I had lunch with a friend of mine yesterday, and I was telling her, I need to go and get a building because, what the goal is, we're moving towards that 2 million, and I'm working on getting this account with Hilton and Marriott, and I need a building. I need this building. And she's like, but you're not ready for that yet. She said, if you get the building, then you have to deal with all the things that come with the building,
right?
The overhead and the licensing and
right.
The permits and the expense of paying for the building and utilities and everything else. So that support system, I'm a dreamer, so I can see something today and I can figure out a way to make it happen by tomorrow or the next day. It takes my husband or my family or my support system to rein me in and say, you know what, I see you, slow down.
Right.
Stay on track. This is the plan. Follow these steps and you will get to that point. We actually, about 2 years ago, we came in contact with a investor, and we spent a good amount of time with him, almost 6 hours on the initial meeting.
Wow.
Gung-ho, and we were ready to take the next step. And turns out that it didn't work out. And in hindsight, I'm happy that it didn't work out. 2 years ago, I was not ready to scale.
Okay.
In the way that I'm ready to scale. Or at least I think I'm ready to scale. Now, I wasn't ready at that point. And I think if we had have scaled to the level that this investor was talking about, we probably would have failed because I was not ready mentally. I was still developing the product line, and I did not have plan in place for how I was going to build the team that I would need to scale to that point. So as you mentioned, it's about running the marathon and seeing someone run past you. I can look at all these other companies that are just doing fabulous with some of the same products that I'm making, or in the same field of personal care products, and I see how they've just gone from 0 to 100 in a short amount of time. But I don't know their story, and I don't know
exactly.
Right. I don't know their story. I don't know what their support system is. I don't know what their monetary situation is. And for me to compare myself to them and say, you know what, they're here, I should be there right now too, is really not beneficial to me.
Thank you for saying that. Did you know that businesses are failing at a faster rate than they are starting? Yes. And not being conscious of where you are in your business will totally be a detriment to where you're going. So let's talk about how you not only have this amazing product line that is sold online, which is great, and is sold in over 7 countries, which I think is even more fabulous. Congratulations. You also are a self-published author of children's books geared towards young girls of color, and you're currently working on your first women's motivational book. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about what made you decide that you wanted to write.
Okay. Well, my second business is Thomas 7 Publishers, and my daughter, she's my youngest child, is my only girl.
Aww.
And just looking at her and the images that are around her, she didn't, and you don't, me, myself, or her, you don't really see too many images of us in media that are shown in a positive light.
Not at all.
I would see her, she'd look at a Disney show or she'd watch a cartoon and she'd say, oh, mommy, they're so beautiful. But usually who she was saying was beautiful didn't look like her.
It was Elsa.
Elsa, right. It was somebody else. And not to say that Elsa or white women or fair-skinned women or blonde-haired women are not beautiful, but I want her to see herself as beautiful. So my interest in writing the children's books were purely for my daughter, to give her something that she could look at, something tangible that she can hold and she can look at and she can see a reflection of her and understand that, okay, I have kinky hair and I have dark skin and I have full lips, but you know what? I'm beautiful, just the way I am. So it actually came to me in a dream. I mentioned to you that I was a dreamer.
Girl, in a dream, no!
I dream about a lot of things. I had a dream that I should write a children's book. And I woke up the next day and I wrote 5 children's books.
Are you kidding? So now here's the kicker. This is what I want everyone to know. You woke up and you actually wrote it down on a piece of paper. A lot of us come up with concepts, especially in our sleep. And I always say, keep a notebook by your bed so that you can write down these ideas. And the ideas that legit stick are the ones that you should, move forward with. So kudos to you to actually putting the pen to paper after you woke up.
Yes, I had this dream. And I woke up, I grabbed my phone from my nightstand, and I went to my notepad, and 5 books.
Wow.
In just a matter of hours. And I woke my husband up, and I said, listen to this. And I didn't tell him that I had a dream or that I wrote a book. I said, look, listen to this. What do you think? And I read him the first book. He was like, man, that's awesome. What book is that? I'm like, I wrote it this morning. I'm like, yes, I did. I wrote it this morning.
That is awesome.
That dream to the next morning, within, I'd say, 2.5 to 3 weeks, I had the illustrations done. I had the website set up. I was taking pre-orders for this book. I had my Amazon Kindle set up.
Time out. What? So how did you know how to do all these things? I'm sure there are people out there that want to write a book, don't even know where to start. So where did you get the skills to know to go to Amazon? How did you build your website? Where did you get the funds to do so? Who drew the pictures? Did you do it? How did you know to do all these different steps?
I'm a researcher. So if I need to find something out, I'll get online and spend however long it takes me to find the information that I need. Now, I already knew that with books, just like with products, you need to have barcodes. So with books, you need to have your ISBN. So I knew that. I just searched for that, paid, I think it was $110 or so, and got the ISBNs. I went to a website called Fiverr, and that's where I found my illustrator. I wanted an illustrator, again, who was a woman of color, so I specifically looked for that. And when I found her, I looked at her portfolio. I reached out to her and told her what I was doing and what I wanted. And we went back and forth for a couple of days. And she was like, "Sure, I can do it." And she did it, and she rocked it out.
Wow.
My website, I used the Shopify platform, which is what I'm using for my Royal by Nature website. And I built that myself. I used the images,
get out of
and
here,
illustrations, and I built the website myself, plugged everything in to that. And then Amazon, I ordered tons of books from Amazon. So I knew that I could get the book on Amazon. I just needed to figure out how to
right,
get it on Amazon in a digital format and then also in hardcover. Spent some time messing around with that and figured that out too.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
So
so in a few weeks, it was together.
you're the like epitome of an entrepreneur. All you got to do is Google it, figure it out. If you do have enough passion, like you said, you can make things happen. Now let's talk about some of the biggest obstacles that you face since starting your practice that was started in New York and went to Atlanta, to your soap business, to being an author. What are some of the things that almost made you want to say, forget it, I quit. I'm going to go get a corporate job. I'll put my kids in regular school, and that's how I'm going to make my money.
It would have to be when I would say it's finances. You know, finances, as you mentioned, can always be a deterrent. That can always be what makes you do a complete 180. We've always been blessed to keep our bills paid and always have what we need, but there are times when you're like, I don't know where this is coming from.
Right.
And those are the times that I'll be on my phone on Indeed looking for nursing positions or looking for midwifery positions, and then hear a cha-ching, an order has come in, or somebody's emailed me because they need to place another wholesale order, or someone has reached out because they want to do an interview, or they want to do a giveaway or a sponsorship. Something usually happens to rein me back in from getting ready to push send and shoot my resume out to look for a job and say, you know what, I can't do this.
Wow.
I can't do this anymore.
Wow. So, I mean, I guess it's just meant for you to be an entrepreneur. So for someone that is maybe in a position where they found a need kind of like you and is looking to fulfill it, but are kind of like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I can. What advice would you give for them to A, assess if they're qualified to be an entrepreneur, and B, just go out and do it?
Well, the first thing I would say is do not quit your day job.
Yes.
The income, unless you are gifted with a lump sum of money, or you win the lotto, or you are a trust fund baby, do not quit your day job. You need the stable income to help fuel your passion and
Absolutely.
to turn that into a business. So keep your day job, and in your free time that you have, whether it's a couple hours at night or your Saturday or your Sunday or early in the morning before you go to your day job, use that time to dedicate to building the business. Even if it's just the initial stages of researching to figure out what you need to do to get to the next level. Use your free time to build the business.
Right.
When your business has caught on, meaning people are starting to take interest, and interest doesn't mean that you have to be generating money just yet. It could be they're taking interest in your Facebook pages, or you're starting to get some engagement on Instagram, or people are starting to ask questions about what you're doing. When you start to see that people are like, hey, yeah, I'm feeling this, I like this. Now it's time to start taking it to the next level. Start selling your product or selling your service. Start talking yourself up everywhere you go. When you meet someone and you give them your business card, give them your elevator pitch, your 30-second elevator pitch, and let them know what you do. And more often than not, either they're going to reach back out at some point, or they're going to tell somebody about you, and that person is going to reach back out. I'd say about 90% of my business combined comes through word of mouth. I don't do a lot of advertising, and I'm grateful for that. Some people must do a lot of advertising for their business to grow, but I do believe that speaking about your business, and people can always tell when you're genuine and when you're passionate about something, and that resonates with them. They connect to that, and they like that. So don't quit your day job. Use your spare time to focus on the business, and when the business starts to get some traction, or the idea starts to get some traction, then you can start to move it into becoming a business.
I absolutely love your story, and thank you so much for the great advice. How can we go about finding you and contacting you and learning more about you online?
Okay. Well, I'm all over the place online: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, everywhere. But the easiest way to contact me is through my Royal by Nature website, which is royalbynature.com, or through our Royal by Nature Facebook page. You can also email me directly at Asiya, ASIYAH, at royalbynature.com, or you can call me, which is 866-500-2050.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey in business. We are excited to feature you as one of the Atlanta underground African American entrepreneurs that we are scouring the country to find. We look forward to learning more about you. We're going to be following you, and we're going to make sure that we totally promote your products. So I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. I'm Mikai Brown. I'm out of here. Thank you so much.